knows that boys about age 7 through 12 are loud, wild, and for whatever reason they really like dirt. Over the course of 4 years, I attempted to tame them. This is important because Cub Scouts has become a very important part in many boys and now girls' lives. I am Cathryn Osborne, and I am a communication student at UALR. Today I'm going to tell you about my service learning with Cub Scout Pack 810 based out of Jacksonville, Arkansas. First, I'm going to tell you a story about my service learning, then an analysis including 2 concepts and a principle. Then finally, I'm going to give recommendations on how to improve my communication and my community. Moving on, I completed my service at Cub Scout Pack 810 based out of Jacksonville, Arkansas. This is important because this is your foundation of my service learning. The mission of Scouting, according to scouting.org, is to prepare young people to make ethical choices, teach citizenship, character, personal fitness, and leadership, and experience living the ideals of Scouting, belonging to a den, and advancement in family involvement. During my service, I worked mainly with the lions, tigers, and the wolves. Wasn't a huge fan of the bears. We spent most of our meetings were at St. Jude's Church by the Air Force Base, where we went over the book, and there's a lot of stuff for that. And then we'd have monthly campouts that were a weekend long, no technology allowed. I taught the boys how to be team players and how to be respectful of the outdoors, which came in handy during campouts. This supports the mission because I worked with the leaders. You can see me here at our Pinewood Derby, where I was the super secretary checking in the leaders and the future superheroes for Cub Scouts. I made sure that the family knew exactly what the boys were doing at all times and try to get them to work, especially with the younger kids, kindergarten, 1st grade. They had to have family work with them. Then we had our campouts where we worked on personal fitness and respect for the outdoors. Here, we're playing a game which involved stealing people's shoes and stealing them as far as possible. You can see I'm barefoot. I lost horribly. Next, two principles and a concept that relates back to the service. This is important because this is how my service relates back to this class. One principle that relates to this is communicative behaviors are learned. According to the UALR Survival Guide 2018, the behaviors used in communication process can be learned to positively affect communication. Example of this, one of my first years volunteering, we had a boy who was very autistic, and he just couldn't get a grasp on anything unless it was his way. He wanted to learn how to play chess. His grandfather, his main guardian, had spent years trying to teach him to play chess. Before I sat down with him, he told me it's not gonna work. He spent years trying to teach him how to play chess. He beat me in one night. This is important because I was able to change my communication style to fit his, and he was able to learn something that everybody thought he couldn't. First communication concept is understanding. According to Adler, Rodman, and Dupree, 2017, is the act of interpreting a message. For an example, the Tigers, 1st graders, they will not be straight with you about anything. They're confusing, especially when you ask their opinion. So I need to understand if I need to change something for the lesson. The second concept is personal distance. And according to Adler, Rodman, and Dupree, 2017, is the distance done of about 18 inches to 4 feet. An example is when I'm teaching a den. It is very close and personal. It's small group work. which is why it's important. Moving on, a concept and ethical implication to improve my communication and my community. This is important because how I communicate affects my community. Concept for communication is questioning. Adler-Rahman and Dupree, 2017, says questioning is when a receiver seeks out additional information. An example is going back to the tigers. I need to ask additional information so I'm not confused. And it's always better to just ask and get it over with, so I'm not pretending. An ethical implication to improve my community is caring with grace. Survival Guide 2018 says that it's understanding and meeting the needs of the people we interact with. This is important because everybody communicates differently, and if you don't understand it, everything can go wrong. So you should always handle everything with a positive light, so it doesn't go wrong like it normally would. I can improve my community by using this principle because I can lead by example. And if I don't get mad at somebody for being confusing, somebody else will see it and they'll follow suit. Lastly, today I told you about my service with Pack 810. Those are my boys. I gave you a story about my service, then an analysis of my communication that I used, and recommendations on how to improve my community and communication. Over the years, I tried to tame those boys. I don't know if it worked or not, but I do know that I do like dirt just a little bit more.